Hey everyone, I'm Casey Hollins, and you're watching the Sportsnet Digital Dose. We've got Arden Zwelling from Sportsnet Magazine in the studio today, and the new edition of the magazine comes out tomorrow. And our favorite, R.A. Dickey, is on the cover. Everyone's very excited about that. I know I am. And it kind of signals that baseball is literally right around the corner, right about to start. And I know that you wrote quite a few articles actually in the upcoming issue that are centered around this sport that everybody is anticipating so much. And I know one of the articles that you wrote about was about Andrew McCutchen, who not a lot of people know about, or even if they do, they don't know much about him because he plays for the Pirates, and we don't talk much about the Pittsburgh Pirates. But I know that you kind of got a chance to delve into that and talk to Andrew and write about him, so I want to get your perspective on it.
Yeah, I went down and saw him in Bradenton, Florida a couple weeks ago, and you're right, the Pirates don't get talked about that much, especially fans of American League teams, because they're kind of buried in the National League, and they haven't had a winning season in 2 decades. You think about, people harp on the Jays for not having won a World Series in 2 decades. The Pirates haven't had a winning season in 2 decades. So it's been a long time, and they don't get covered much. And they've kind of really screwed up a lot of their rebuilding over the years. They trade away a lot of their good players and haven't gotten good returns on it. And they've kind of started and stopped at rebuilding and couldn't figure out what they wanted to do organizationally. And then they came across Andrew McCutchen, who they drafted in the first round and became this great player. And he's really one of probably the 3 best center fielders in the game. I'd put him up there with Mike Trout and Matt Kemp as the 3 best center fielders that you can find. He's really, really great hitter, contact hitter. He hits for power. He steals bases. He plays good defense. And he does it's a very, very rare young player. And they just re-upped him. They just re-signed him last spring to a very team-friendly deal, very below market value. So they now have this great piece to build around. And the idea is that McCutchen, if he has a breakout season this year, if the Pirates are able to at least get to 500 around there, maybe a little bit over, they can start adding some pieces with this payroll flexibility that they have because McCutchen signed for undervalue and make a playoff push.
For a player like McCutchen to sign a team-friendly deal, he must believe in the Pittsburgh Pirates and what they're doing. That seems, for somebody of his caliber to play on a team that hasn't had a winning season in 20 years, he must have a belief in where they're going. Did you get that sense from him?
Yeah, I talked to him about that. He's from Florida. He's from a very small town called Fort Meade. It's only about 5,000 people. It's very, very poor town. He grew up in a small little bungalow, really tiny. His father was a youth pastor in town. His grandfather owned a convenience store down the road, and that's just how they made money. And so he comes from very meager beginnings. So, I asked him, I said, you probably could have made a lot more money if you waited for free agency and you're playing so well. He said, man, this is plenty of money for me. This is all that I need. This is more than I ever thought that I would have. He invests very wisely. He puts a lot of his money into investments. He only allows himself about $10,000 a month of spending money, and then the rest is taken away from him, which is probably the smartest thing a young athlete can do. So he's very smart with his money, and he likes Pittsburgh. He likes the franchise. He likes that they had faith in him and they drafted him early. They were one of the first teams that brought him in to work out when he was in high school. This is a guy that hit 700 in high school. A lot of people kind of didn't pay much attention to him because they didn't think he was playing against the best competition.
Yeah.
So, Pittsburgh has really been loyal to him, and he's kind of showing that back to them by signing this deal.
That's nice to see. And it's nice to hear how he's handling his money. That's always it's a good sign. He sets a good example for younger players.
I think he saw the bad examples that have come before him of players that have blown their money on things. And it's not, he's got a nice car. He's got a Lamborghini. He's got a Range Rover with big rims. He's got diamond necklaces.
Too shabby.
He's got all the spoils of an athlete life, but he's also taken that other money and spent it wisely and invested it wisely so that hopefully he doesn't need a massive contract.
Yeah. Now, okay, I want to move from one of the best players right now to one of the best teams, if not the best team, as you were saying, the Nationals this year. The last season they played well, and you were saying that this season you think they're going to be even better. Why is that?
I think they will be even better because they've got some young players that are going to take the next step. They got Bryce Harper, who's everyone has heard of, young outfielder. Steven Strasburg could be the best pitcher in the game. Last year he was limited because he was coming off a Tommy John surgery. He wasn't able to pitch in the playoffs. This year he's going to have a full year, 200 plus innings, and he could do really great things. He's a really, really talented guy. They've just got a really great base. They've got a great deep bullpen. They just added a new closer, Alfonso Soriano, and Rafael Soriano, and they got Drew Storen in there, Tyler Clippard. They got a great bullpen. They got a great starting staff. Really, depth of rotation. They added Dan Herron, who's a veteran starter. They just, last year, this is a team that won more than 100 games. And the difference between last year and this year is they added even more pieces. So they've really geared up, and they're going to make a good run at the World Series.
There'll be a team to look out for sure. Maybe, hopefully we'll still be watching the Jays. We will be. They've added some pieces this season too. But Nationals are obviously a team to talk about as well.
I think in the NL, they've got to be your favorites going into the season, because last year this is a team that won a ton of games, and they're only better now.
Jays fans can give them the NL then. We'll just give them that, and we'll stay with the American League and meet in the World Series. Done deal.
If you're a Jays fan, you don't worry about them until October,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And it'll be exciting to watch. So if you want to read more about what Arden has to say about the baseball teams and the players that he's written about, there's all kinds of stuff in the new magazine, and it's definitely worth picking up. It's on newsstands tomorrow.